Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as soon as I started choking. Anyway, hope everybody's had an awesome Christmas. Hopefully, everybody is safe. Come New Year's, that's amateur hour. So if you're, I know some people really like to party because it's Tuesday turns into Wednesday. Only does it one time a year. Be careful. Uh, Fun fact, just shout out. I did go to the bank and pull out my first Bitcoin. It's sweet. Once you have your own Bitcoin, you can go to the bank and withdraw one. They're not bad. I like to keep one with me. Anyway, the amount of people I got to Google that was absolutely hilarious. And the best part about my Christmas so far is I have a family member that actually watches all of my videos, which is amazing because literally none of them do. They don't know anything about it. As much as I've tried to get family, friends, everybody, that is the reason I am on YouTube because nobody wants to listen. Uh, and I don't know if there's more videos coming out about that because there are people that they're just scared to get in the markets. So if this is for you, it costs nothing to show up to YouTube and just or TikTok, and watch something and learn, kind of get a feel for it and just see what happens. You don't have to do a single thing. I'm going to break down the markets today. But there's not a lot going on. It's the end of the year. Next week, we're also closed, I believe, on Wednesday as well. We talked about this last week. This right here just being a dip buy. Shout out to anybody that did because you're up. Congrats on that. But the amount of people I've told to put some money in a brokerage account, and this is real, and you do nothing but what I say for the next 6 months, I will cover every loss you have. That's it. The amount of people that have turned that down tells me this system is flawless. And now I think there is the language of money, right? We use big words, bullish and bearish. There's a lot of words that people just don't care. It sounds so foreign that I think a lot of people just don't ever get involved in the first place. And those that do, maybe they follow some joker, and then they just purposely tell everybody it's a scam, and then it just keeps you guys comfortable in your little W-2 prison cell for the rest of your life. James says, I'll take that deal. It's only people that honestly, it's only been people that I can see every day and like control that. So make sure they're not going off the rails. But it's wild. I mean, people have turned that down. Besides, you guys are in my group. You guys know what I'm going to say. Just follow that. Anyway, I need out of the W-2 prison cell. Why? You're not comfortable? I'm just kidding. Stick around. Let's anyway, I wish I want to shout out my family member that does watch it. We had a little family get together and he just came out and said, yeah, watch your shows, get people to watch it. You guys know I don't like to just name names just in case because it is a money thing, but just know that literally made my whole Christmas. Well, I was ready for action at that point. All right, let's jump into the US dollar. Hanging out, doing absolutely nothing. It'll probably continue to do that next week as well. If we go into the news, if you guys think news is going to move the markets tomorrow, we have the good trades balance that won't really do anything. Retail inventories, X autos. Let's see, gasoline stocks. None of these are going to do anything. And same with next week. Wednesday, the market is closed. But maybe we come back Thursday, second with a little jump right back into the year. We got jobless claims. It's a normal Thursday thing. And we got PMI. So maybe next week we get a little situation going. Matt, yes. Okay, so the China meets in February. You think they will announce a domestic stimulus package? Probably. Seems like China was taking a page out of our books for a little bit, just throwing money out there. As far as US dollar, Japanese yen, I am short this right now, so I am looking for this to reject. I am short the type 2, so I am barely red this right now. If it gets back out of this, so I put I'll get this on TikTok over here. My stop is actually right above this red wick right here. It's at 1583. So that stops out. It'll just be in a little annoying L, but that's what knife catches are for. Bitcoin playing the kind of back here in this range. I'm going to keep, so typically yellow zones, they're like the 4-hour daily zones. And then blue is more hourly. I call them speed bump zones. Kind of like we could reject here, probably just a little bit turbulent. We'll just keep an eye out. I mean, kind of babysit this thing. Part of me almost wants to make that a yellow zone, kind of flip flop these because we really are rejecting here. But when you think about what that zone actually is, it's an area of attention. That's where algos are getting in and out, right? So I got to keep that there because that is where that game of tug of war is taking place. I can even fine tune that just a tiny bit. So I'll keep that there. I'm not too worried about Bitcoin. I guess if it were to drop below 92, I would honestly think we're probably going to hit that 86 mark. I know there's a zone right here at that 90, and we probably have a little hiccup there for a lower high, but I bet we would at least hit that. Looking at just the longer term kind of thing, just I guess this overall trend, just as your two connecting points down here, it's kind of a popular way to do things. We got a little extended. Wouldn't surprise to see it come back here. And then the big trend down here. I think that will be reserved for a crypto winner. And I do think I think we do actually still, and I've said this before, I think we have a few months left as far as this goes. But then I think that'll be our last meaningful below 100K dip buy. So for right now, I don't really have the burners turned on. Day trading, I haven't done actually anything this week. I had the calls I've sold. I'll keep that going just for income. But as far as my plan for January and February, I'll take a little swing trades here and there. But the real kicker, I think, is when I do think we're going to crash. I'm still thinking March. We'll start selling off, and I'm going to wait. But then I'm going to kick on the accumulators. Like it's not even the right word, but it's going to be. That's where I'm going to buy a lot. So if there's one thing I can prepare you guys for, is next year. If there's going to be a crash. And no matter, I could talk till I'm blue in the face. You're just not until you feel it are you going to really understand what I mean by this. But your account is going to go down. Right? If you hold stuff, it's just going to go down. Right? That's it. Now, there's a lot of comforting things people say to make themselves feel better. It's not a loss until you lock it in. A lot of things. If that helps you get to sleep at night, sure. But what I like to do is just have a plan. And if that is still in my plan, then there's nothing to change. Now, everything I'm holding, I plan on holding, right? Bring on the storm, right? Sunshine, what is it? Rain or shine event. Those are going to stay in my account. Now, you will quickly realize just how over allocated you are when things start going down and you start questioning, should I just sell now? Should I just get out of this thing? Oh my gosh, my money is going down. I'm losing everything. I knew this was a scam. They're going to start creeping up in certain levels. And if you get to that level, you're just over allocated. You had too much. And it is important to know your levels because as your money moves around, if it's too little, you'll just do dumb stuff. Dumb stuff because it won't care. And you will die death of 1,000 cuts. But if it's too much, that you're going to see one red candle and you're going to lose your mind. Right? You're anxious. You're sweating. You're not sleeping. Everything changes. So, anyway, prepare for that ride next year. Technician says, "Get ready for the pain." It's not really pain. It's really not. It's something you learn over the years that crashes. They happen all the time. They're just little reset switches. Now they're always accompanied by an excuse because that's how you get the sellers, and you got to create that panic. But that's how the bigger players do actually get to buy the dip. They don't get to take advantage of the little 1-hour moves like we do. 0 days expiration puts at 602 SPY. Oh, okay. I don't know if I'd go that crazy yet. Anyway, let's rock and roll. Yeah. Final thoughts. Yeah. Anyway, next year, accumulation year for me. We'll see how that pans out. As far as the S&P, we talked about this giant red candle. As far as, this created a lot of concern just at how fast it had sold off. It just some end of the year, closed that position, probably locking in some profits. Just a dip buy until not. As long as things keep coming up, just a dip buy. One of these days, that red candle will be followed by another red candle, and then we can talk about a trend down. For now, if it does reverse right here, we can talk about a lower high. This is probably why someone just bought 602 puts on SPY. They're thinking a trend line like that. That's going to be your lower high. I personally don't, but we'll see. Again, it's the end of the year. I would put zero. I would take all of this with a grain of salt, like you would lure deer in, like a salt block. For now, I would just pay more attention to we're moving up, we're gapping up, moving up, moving up. Like that's all we can do is sell off. We actually pulled back, hit that zone, and then bounced. So for now, just keep an eye on that. I will, for the meantime, have to draw these red candles. Not red candles, red lines. If you're new here, these red lines signify one thing, and that's that we've been inside. One red day down. We opened here, we closed here, and every day in the meantime, we've been inside this. So we've done nothing. If you bought right here, you watched your money go down, back to break even. If you bought right here, you watched your money go up. You do the math. Would not surprise me to finish off the year actually inside that range. It's a good buying opportunity versus buying when it's just shooting up. Oh yeah, and it's very easy to make fun of people because they quote Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett's not a trader. But it's funny when traders start quoting Warren Buffett. That's how you know you're just trying to get comfortable, But it's very true. Next year, that's where Warren Buffett's saying, really comes from. Be fearful when everyone else is greedy right now, and be greedy when everyone else is fearful, which I do think will be next year. And I expect YouTube and TikTok will drop off the cliff because people will just be losing money. Essentially the money will just be going down. They're going to buy the dip, and they're just going to keep buying the dip because they never actually had a plan in the first place, which is why I just have it on repeat like a broken record. Have a plan or just plan to fail. And I mean, that is the most foolproof thing you're ever going to hear, especially in this market. But then, I'll start accumulating and I'm going to be buying. And then the following months after that, when I'm up a lot, you'll start to see everybody start to trickle back in. Hey, the market's good again. I can come out. I can make money in this. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're up 100, 200%. Everyone else is just getting in. That's what we call job security. That's exit liquidity. There's a lot of other things that's gonna turn into. All right. As far as the S&P goes, we went right to the expected move and hung out. Buying puts on Palantir then? No, I do think Palantir's up there. I think it'll pull back. It's still one of my favorites that I'm going to actually be accumulating. All of my favorites, I'm just waiting, right? But I'm just waiting there at the storefront with my basket. I'm gonna let everybody else lose their minds first, and then I'll go in and buy. I'm not buying that first on sale sticker. I want to start stacking the stickers up, each time dropping the price. And then I'll buy. I'm not actually looking to short the market until things turn around. Right now, there's really no reason to go short. I mean, look at this market. Lower left to the upper right of your screen. How many more signs do you need that things are going up? Things don't go up forever, but right now they're going up just fine. So once that turns around, let's say we do put in a lower high, or whatever. Maybe we even put in a higher high. I actually don't care until we break this low. Break this low, and the conversation now is lower lows. Now we can start talking about getting in short and riding that the way down. Do I dollar cost average on the way down? No. On the way down, I'll likely be shorting. And for those that don't like to short, I get it. For some reason, there's just a mental block with going short. This thing's going down, and you're making money. And fine. I don't even argue with those people anymore. And it really is like a mental block. It's just hard to get over. But while things are selling off, let the bears do their thing. The more you wait, the cheaper it gets. There's reversal signs everywhere. Like we just talked about. Here, I'll just invert the chart. Once we break that high, now we can talk about things going up. Sure, you didn't buy the absolute bottom. You bought a few bucks higher up here. Who cares? In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. That's a lot better than buying here, and just watching your money go down and then amplifying every time you buy. You just wait for the reversal and then you'll buy. You'll do a million times better than anybody else. So once we get the reversal, I'll go short. And then if I'm short, I'm not accumulating. There will be levels at which I think, like, hey, this is cheap enough. AMD is pretty much already almost there for me. AMD could go, quite a bit lower. I'm just going to buy more. But that's where I'm at. There's certain rain or shine events where I'm going to buy stuff. If you're down south, you just don't get this. But I called a Corvette in the wintertime. They're lightweight, rear-wheel drive. You just don't want to drive them in the snow. They will sit on a dealership lot. Okay, you go put in a Corvette right now and 3 inches of snow out on the street, put it at $100,000. No one's buying it. Now you drop that Corvette to 90, no one. 80, no one. 70, still no one. 60, 50. All of a sudden, someone's going to pull up with a trailer and say, that's fine. I don't care what this thing does. I'm going to hold that thing in my garage until summertime. So when it gets that cheap, there's just going to be that level where I'm going to buy here, and the rest of the storm, I'll ride that out with it. And I'll draw those levels out as we go, but it is important just to kind of have that plan in general of where do I want to buy this thing, and really, where do I want to buy this thing and be committed. If this thing goes to zero, I'm on that boat with it. Because at that point, I'll probably start selling a lot of puts. I'll get paid to buy the stock, especially if I plan on buying 100 shares. And usually I do. I'll do it in groups of 100. I will start selling puts. I'll turn this stock market into a landmine and just start going. A minefield, not landmine. The old bargain bin. Exactly. Any thoughts on buying leveraged ETFs after a crash? Time and place for them. Once you get the reversal, yes. Real quick, so actually we're going to move on to the NASDAQ, and I'm going to show you one of the best examples out there, as a matter of fact. Anyway, here's your same thing. Everything I just went over for the S&P, same thing. You notice that bright red candle, and we've been inside the whole time. I can repeat this. Everything if you're just tuning in, just rewind and watch what I said about the S&P, and know that that's the same thing right there. Now let's talk about the NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ futures. This is what drives the order flows into the ETF, like QQQ, that a lot of you guys know. You'll notice there's a lot of gaps in here because it's an ETF. It's not the actual market. What I just showed you which is why there isn't those gaps. What's the Corvette level for AMD? Already here. I think it's already here. I think there is different Corvette levels for different people. Like the rich guy. Now, I'm not going to say I'm rich, but the rich guy doesn't mind buying that Corvette 70, 75. While you get the McDonald's worker, he can afford a $40,000 Corvette. So hopefully I didn't offend anybody with that. You get what I'm saying? You go from white collar to fast food. That's your level. That's going to be ultimately your opinion. Okay, so looking at QQQ, let's how far back do we want to go? I've used this example a ton. Let's go right here, December of 2021. Every reason why you don't want to invest in a leveraged ETF. Because here's QQQ, right? So this is a 2 times ETF. So whatever QQQ does on the day, if QQQ goes up 1%, in theory, this should go up 2%. Now, right there, if you're actually using your brain, you should know that's a very big issue. Because when something goes down, if something goes down 50%, this is the easiest one, you need to go 100% up just to get back to break even. Same thing. Down 2%, you need that much more just to get back to break even. So over time, just in the up and downs, these things decay away. So let's go to, is this 2021 again? December of 2021. TQQQ. Let's say you hold account it right now. You bought all your shares at $87. Congrats. You are up not even a sing. What are you up? Let's go for the peak right here. 80s. Let's say you bought it flat at 87. You like those whole dollar numbers. Give it 9 cents. All right, you're up almost 1%. Banging. Now, the cool part about that is you invested at 87. You watched your money drop 81% to make almost a whole percent. Now, that's how you invest. Anyway, that's why you never hold those. Take that same thing on QQQ, December of 2021. Right? So you go here. And now you're up 31%. Now that's a regular ETF. All you did was buy it. You bought at the absolute peak, and then you deleted the app, and you didn't take a single trade. Nothing. Never sold here, buy here. None of that. You just bought. You said, I'm tired of having a savings account because that was an absolute joke. You put all your money in this. Now you're up 30%, right? So your 1,000 is now 1,300. Now check with your bank and just imagine you put $1,000 in your savings account back then, and then what do you think it is now? It's probably like 1,012. You guys need to read the fine print on this high yield savings account. There's actually caps to it. But here's the cool part and why I brought all this up. Let's say you actually were to nail the bottom of that thing. Okay, QQQ, you're up 100% if you bought the bottom. You know what? Let's do what I just told you to do. Here's our first higher high. You waited for that. Lower high, lower high, lower high. We finally had the lower high. You could buy the pullback, which is what I would do. You see the first higher high? That's just your signal. Then you start buying this dip, and you'll do that. And it'll be easy to see in real time. But let's say you bought the absolute peak. You didn't care because it bought that, and you're just good to go. QQQ, you are up 70%. We rounded up. It was 69. Let's go to TQQQ. Where's that move at? It should be right here. Say you did the same thing, but instead of going QQQ, you bought TQQQ. You're up 226%. Now, that's the difference. That's why these have their time and the place. These are not to be invested in. These are to be traded. And yes, when things take a dip and you get that reversal sign on QQQ, here's SPXL. Here's the S&P version. These can make all the difference in the world. Now, this is how you go from white collar to fast food. This is how you go from white collar to retired. All right. It's just making those tweaks and understanding what these are actually designed for. This is actually a 3 times ETF. So if we take that same exact thing and you bought that higher high right here, just in the S&P, you're up 127%. Let's go with the S&P in general. Let's see what you're at here. You are up 43%. Rocking. So yes, long story short, am I going to buy those? Yes. Is QQQ's a 3 times? I thought QQQ got downgraded to 2 times because they weren't performing. But 3 or 2 times, it's gonna do the exact same thing. So when there is a bottom like that, I'm probably myself buying futures contracts. If all you have is a Robinhood account, or I guess they even have futures now. If all you have access to is shares, and you can buy that, because sometimes there's just different accounts that don't have access to things, and you can buy TQQQ or SPXL. There is a time and place. They do come with risk. It is not to be ignored. Remember this. Here's QQQ. You bought it at the absolute peak, knew nothing, and deleted the app. You are actually still up. You listen to some dork, because I have heard people say this. I put all my money in TQQQ. Guess where I heard them say it? Right there. They're like, yeah, that's adorable. And then they lost 80% of their money, and you're probably going to panic and quit. But anyway, if you don't understand what you're doing, just that one little shift is going to drop you down 80%. And let's not forget, some of these ETFs are not even here anymore because they couldn't perform. Things can get bad, and it's definitely important that you know it. Will dollar cost averaging negate the decay? Nope. No, it'll just add to it. It'll be like getting robbed in an alleyway, and all they want is your money, but you show them you have a pretty sweet car and a brand new phone, and you're wearing a chain under your shirt. You're just going to offer them up everything else. Of course, the burglar's going to take it. He was fine with your wallet, but now that you told him you have everything else, he's going to take it. All right, Grandpa Dow. Oh, we skipped right over that, huh? All right, Grandpa Dow already has the red lines there. Drop down, and that was the buy, but right now it is just sideways. We're just hanging out. Needs to get above. Now, anytime I draw these red lines for everyone watching, get above and close, below and close, and that'll likely be your heading. That's where we're going to go. So kind of right now, all eyes on there. Looking at the Russell, same thing. Russell's not going to be bullish till it gets above this zone. And to be honest, it'd be super easy to rope a lot of people in to break above this, get above this. January is typically known to be a bullish month. So you get above it. Everyone thinks the water's fine. Jump on in. and then they get wrecked. It's a great way to create exit liquidity if you need to sell a large position. SPY calls for end of year. Any thoughts? I honestly, my thoughts on SPY calls versus SPY puts for the end of the year, going to December 31st, is the exact same thing. It's going to be an absolute coin toss. There's a heads and there's a tails. Just end of year, that's just kind of how things are. Ask me that question any other week. We're 3 weeks into January. I'll have an answer for you. But right now, and I say it because your allocation should reflect that. There's times to be confident you want to strike while the iron's hot, and there's other times you just need to take the back seat, kick your feet up on the desk, and do something not different. There's always money to be made when there's movement, but definitely times you want to dial your allocation back so you don't get wrecked. But I do have some tickers to break down from my group, so give me 1 second. If you guys are interested in that, just check out the Patreon link. I was supposed to go live on Christmas. I was listening. Today's the last day you can buy the course and get lifetime. I haven't taken it down yet. That's not a gimmick. It's going down. So if you did want lifetime access, you have until midnight tonight, and that's the Teachable link. DonFranshow.teachable.com. Yeah. Anyway, you'll buy the course. That's lifetime access to the Discord and everything like that. Okay, we got to break down Serve and Sound. And I will go over, I saw a lot of people call out XRP and some other ones. All right, Serve. Now, for people on TikTok, you're probably new to this, but yellow box to yellow box. It's just a weird coincidence. Man, why is this? Honestly, it's going to be tickers like this. I think this is a great trade, and it'll probably continue to trend up short term. Tickers like this are the ones that get obliterated. If I'm right about next year, Serve, Sound, Mara, there's a lot of these lower level tickers that just aren't the just juggernauts like Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Tesla. Those will take a beating. They'll take a beating like a dent in their armor. These guys are like playing football with no shoulder pads. It's not going to take much just to sweep them off the field. So I would be careful with how much I have into and I say it a cheaper ticker. And I really actually like this. I like Serve and Sound. If NVIDIA's invested in it, I like NVIDIA's management team. I like what they do. So I typically just borrow from their homework. It almost sounds lazy, but why fix what isn't broken? But I do know if I'm right about next year, this is going to get a lot cheaper. A lot of the people in my group are actually trading this, so it's going up. Honestly, I would put my stop below this zone. 1645 is where I'd be at on that one. As far as Sound, I would probably bump my stop up a little bit. 2345 on this one. Bull flag or reversal. That either continues or it comes right back down. And at that point, I would just rather someone else watch their money go down than me. Gosh, there's something going on right here too. I'll make that a blue zone. Now, if I stopped out right here and I watched it hang out right here, then I'd probably get back in. But no way would I want to just assume that zone's going to bounce and watch it just go all the way, just deflate all the way back down here. WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance. Has anyone ever bought any boots from Walgreens? Just curious. Are they good? Steel toe? I'll quit making jokes. Interesting. Shot up right here. Why did that shoot up? December 10th. December 18th. Okay. I wanted to see what the I wanted to see if that was like an inverse of what's going on there. I was like, wait a minute. They sell boots? It's in their name. Technician, I assume they sell boots. I don't know how I would look at this. I do know a bigger picture. This thing's absolute garbage. But at least it's flattening out. So, like, as far as not Wall Street, Walgreens, if you ask me about Walgreens right here, we'd be having a whole different conversation of this is what your money's going to do. It's just going to continue to go down. Top left to lower right, one of the easiest hacks. Probably going to continue going down. Now, don't tell anybody on Wall Street bets that because they'll poor little brains would probably pour out of their ears. But you know, now that we've been trending down, but then we went flat. So the story's starting to change here. We either found a temporary floor where somebody's just trying real hard to buy that dip, and then the sellers just take over. It continues down, or buyers are stepping in, sellers lose that strength, and then it starts to actually reverse. So right now, because it's gone flat, now it's time to have that conversation of, hey, is this an actual bottom? If you like it, maybe for a dividend ticker, then I would keep an eye on this level right inside here. Now we've completely flattened out. I want to say right. Yeah, right there. So kind of horizontal. So if I was in this, kind of sucks that it's in between zones right now. But honestly, my stop would be 785. So we're just shy of $2 a share. Now, if I want to risk $10, I'm going to buy 5 shares. And that's it. I'll collect a dividend in the meantime. As long as it stays sideways, once it breaks up, then we'll start talking. Breaking this, hopefully everyone starts talking about a gap fill, and then it just maybe goes for it. But baby steps. No reason, like everyone talking about AMC. AMC to $100,000. AMC never hit $100. We got it one thing at a time. But only because it's flattened out would I even entertain the idea. Maybe an 850 put. If you really wanted to tighten it up, I hate stopping out. I'd go right below this green wick. And putting your stop at $8, you're asking for it to bounce. So the 85-cent mark is just something I've learned over time. The long and short, real quick, is I used to put my stop at the dollar. If it hits $8, I'm out, and it would just bounce right there. And then I'd move my stop to 795. Tiny bit better. 790. Now we're getting somewhere, but I'm still tagging out and watching it reverse. Then I'd go to the 85-cent mark. It'd come down to that $8 mark, fudge it a little bit, then turn around. And I was avoiding stopping out. So the 85-cent mark is me. You make me want to sell everything except Tesla. Nah, because what if I'm wrong? There's a time and place. Wait for things to reverse. Then make that decision. Worst thing you can do right now is sell because someone on TikTok or YouTube is telling you there's going to be a crash next year, and you don't know. January, February, March could just be absolutely nuts. It just goes up. Everything right now is still going up. So enjoy the gain train. Just know that your stop's coming up soon. Right? One hand on the luggage. You're getting ready, but you're not really standing up. You're just hanging out. Hang on. I'll break down that in a second. The Aussie US dollar. Now, Coinbase, bear flag or reversal, just depends on what camp you're sitting in. It's kind of like politics. You can go sit and listen to your own people echo the same thing over and over again. The bearish people will tell you that's a bear flag. The bullish people will tell you it's a higher low. I would say just put your stop right there. Someone's going to be right. But, since you don't know and you're not psychic, let it pan out. 260.85 would be my stop on that. And for right now, I would buy the dip on this. I would be in the reversal camp, but there's a reason why I have stops. If I knew everything, I just really wouldn't bother with those. These videos would be a lot easier, and you guys would probably be you'd probably have a lot more money. I'll put it that way. How many group tickets are left? Group tickets are left to what? The train? All right. Let's see. Oh, how many group tickers are left? My bad. No, toss them in the chat. Let's go. We're here, aren't we? Gosh. If the dollar continues up, this is just going to continue down. Do you have am I bearish this? I would say it's a little oversold. If I'm going to catch that knife, my stop is right below this green wick, though. What should I trade $100 with right now? Nothing. Nothing. Really. You could gamble on something, I'm sure. If I had $100, what would I buy? I wouldn't be. I wonder if I could. If I had $100, I wonder if it would be worth it buying and holding 4 shares of this. Now, if I'm right, that's going to shoot up. It might turn into a couple $100 over the next, few months. But you're not looking for those kind of gains. You probably want $200 right now. Someone said a scratcher's ticket. I could give you something, and it would probably have the same odds as a scratcher's ticket. No one likes to hold. And honestly, right now you have $100 to turn that into $110 in a week. It's actually pretty big because if you can do 10% a week, you're rocking and rolling. Doing 150% took me all year. Do a few more Uber Eats trips and then buy Don's course. Yeah, I mean, if you want the honest answer, I would probably whatever I buy is going to be a hold. I don't think you have enough to trade. You could gamble it, and that's all it would be. And right now, if all you have is $100, that tells me your experience isn't there. You with $100 versus me with $100, I'm going to turn that into more probably sooner. And you'll never be able to say that if you don't do the work. I've been doing this for 12 years. And if you don't understand that difference, your $100 is going to be zero fast. So you might as well get a bowl of Chipotle and buy something cool. At least you have something cool sitting on your desk. And that's very real. You should do some calls then. Yeah, that's exactly what you should do. If you only have $100, and you even said, I have, and now TikTok, I'm reading this on the YouTube comments, I have $100 and no experience. You can buy spreads, options, shares. You can do whatever you want, and realistically, you'll probably turn that $100 into zero. Man, I don't know what I would invest $100 in education. Yeah. I had a 1K challenge a while back. I don't know. I had the zero challenge. The last 2 years, I started from zero. But I put in $150. $100 on black. Yeah. Yeah, at least then you get some flashing lights and you get some free drinks, usually. Not alcohol, but usually there's like the soda machines free at every casino I've ever been to. Man, I hope you're actually still here listening. You'd be better off keeping that money and sticking around and watch. Because you'll see there's a time and place for everything. And if you want your $100 to actually grow, you do need to have luck on your side. You need to pick the right things. Spy zero expiration. If you follow any of these comments, just know that your money's probably going to go to zero. I'll tell you why it's going to go to zero. Because you're going to win something. And I don't care if you do win a 0 day expiration. You're going to buy some call, like you just said. I guess I should just do some calls then. And then you're going to win. And your 100 is going to turn into 1,000. And then your 1,000 is going to do one of two things: turn to 2,000 or zero. But your 2,000 will turn into zero. Okay. With your zero experience, you're going to win a couple. It doesn't matter. That end road, the end of your yellow brick road, is zero. And you're going to wish you at least took my Chipotle advice and had something to eat. I've seen people do this a million times. Why do you only have $100 is the question. Why can't you get 200? Sell puts to buy AMD now. What expiration strike price? I like to sell puts. I like to sell weekly puts. As far as Intel, I want to break down some tickers real quick. Intel, XRP, MU, Palantir. Do not let me forget those. We're doing this in that order. And hopefully that guy's still here so we can really drive this into him. Because what would make a big difference is you come back with 200, 300, 400. You find out you're a good little saver. And you come back while you're getting that extra couple $100, you're learning. And then it's not going to be so much which slot machine should I do, but what risk am I willing to take? How can I grow this money? How can I make the money work for me? Man, Intel's just dead. Intel's at the expected move right now. I wouldn't expect any more fireworks out of this. Going up 2 standard deviations would put you right there into that zone. If you think that's going to happen, you could get a pretty decent. You could get a pop up $1, but it might just reject and come right back down. You heard me? Okay, don't leave. Let's figure this out. What are your other options? I don't care if it's Uber Eats, fast food. There's something in your budget right now that you could give up for one day and add. If it's a fast food meal, I went to McDonald's. It's like $17 for one person. Not that you should skip any calories, but if you skipped one meal, that's 10% extra on your money. You would be a knife catch right now. Chips just got the beat down. Hang on. It's that whole sector. Maybe $30 strikes. Intel looks good for long dated calls. Leaps, but that's a home run play. I would expect it to go to 0. Yeah, MU is a knife catch. If it gives up this level, sucks to suck. That's the best advice I have for you. I would entertain it again at 70. He says, okay, I'm 18. I have no work. Also, I do not speak English very well. Do you have 2 working hands? I mean that because everybody has not everybody, right? But you have working eyes. You can be eyes for somebody. Sometimes people just need an extra. There's job sites that need an extra pair of hands that you don't need experience to. And if you're 18, there's a world of things you could do just to get a quick buck. Right now, it's not life changing, but it certainly could be a seed. Actually, I have 500 in savings. Leave that there. Started looking at his videos this morning. Yeah, stick around. And I'm telling you, I'll actually be genuinely pissed off right now. If I find out you touched your $500, please don't be like everyone else. Leave your $500 there until you know what you're doing. Or that 500 is going away. Yeah, Chet, it was actually a great day for SoundHound. I already went over that, but that actually just shot up. A little bull flag reversal. All right, it was. I know we have XRP. That's what it was. I just got a free pizza from Domino's, you noob. Ooh, XRP coming on down. All right, so we had the red lines there, which means we know something about XRP right there. So honestly, if you're an XRP, this is where you should be paying attention. So here's that red day. Here's the red lines that we drew on a few other tickers today, and we just closed below. Now, if we shoot right back up, we could have just ran the clock out and came back in. Shooting right back up is the same thing as these wicks. It came down, came right back up. It just happens that the candle actually stopped right here. But more than likely not, you might start to see some profit taking, and then we start to head down. Joe says chips will push NQ up next. Hopefully. Chips were the AI bubble. I don't know. I don't think AI has been in a bubble yet. I think AI will be a bubble. If we're going to compare chips to AI to the .com, we are 1996 right now. Palantir's what it was. I knew I was forgetting something. Ooh, look at Palantir go. It just keeps going and going and going. I hope this one gets absolutely wrecked. I hope next year this one gets destroyed. I hope Tom Nash is a big YouTuber that has been pushing Palantir a lot. I hope his fans hate him. No, it's not because I'm mean. I just want this thing to get wrecked because I'm going to buy a lot of it. Give me investment ideas to become a millionaire, please. There's a lot of these tonight. Should I be shorting the market? Let me show you a few tickers real quick. Palantir. There's nothing to break down on Palantir. We continue this trend up. It might be a little bit. I think the whole thing's overbought, if you want my overall opinion. But anytime it dips kind of back down this trend line, that kind of has been your, if it doesn't break 71.35, it's just a dip buy. It remains on this trend until that happens for now. Should I be shorting the market? That looks completely up. No. Here's the market, still up. No. Here's the NASDAQ. That's tech. No. Everything about this is just continuing to go up. I wouldn't short just yet. But the headlines are gigantic Palantir. Oh, I know what the headlines are. That's how they get out. If something jumps up and consolidates, is that bullish? I was under the impression it is, but I saw something about a BART pattern, and that it's actually bearish. Bart Simpson, his little hair pattern. So here's what it actually is. All right, so it jumps up and consolidates. It's not bullish or bearish. It's whatever you want to make of it. But it jumped up. Now, these green candles are more a lack of sellers than it is a bunch of buyers coming in. More often than not, it's an imbalance. There was just no more sellers in there. So things just naturally started to creep up. This is where the sellers showed up. That's it. All you have there is a game of tug of war. For every time you watched it reject and come back down, I can show you a time that it just based out and continued up. Because sometimes you just have some person that thinks it's overbought, so they're selling, and that's the opposing force, right? So buy, a few sellers, and then it continues on to buying because that's all it was a few sellers. This was a few sellers, but then the buyers ran out, right? Now we're out of buyers, so we're coming back down. So I wouldn't listen to anybody that talks about a pattern like that and says it's one thing or another. It's just important to know how the markets actually work and why it's pausing, why it's consolidating. Because honestly, when it shoots up like that, and we look around, if an earnings does this, blast that thing up, just sends it to the moon, and then we just look around, that is everybody looking around like to their neighbor, like, hey, you selling? No? Yeah, I wouldn't either. Nobody's selling, nobody's scared. When it shoots up and comes right back down, that tells me nobody thought it should be worth that much. Now that's when I'm like, all right, clearly we might be close to a top. But when we shoot up and just look around, everybody thinks I'm fine with this. Then now I'm thinking continuation. Got check ticker Rivian. Mark my words. How cheap do we think this is going to be next year? Do you think we're going to hit sub $1? If there's an industry that if I am right, I do think we're going to crash next year. It's not going to be like the Rona crash. There's a lot of people right now talking about the bird flu, and it's kind of lining up again, and that would be wild. Especially here in Kansas City, there were some cases, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be like a 2022 where we just grind this thing down all year. Every green candle, people are going to forget about the red candles that got them there, and that's going to happen again. But if I'm right, automotive is going to take a bat to the back of the knee first, and then the back of the head. So Ford, GM. We're gonna break down GM because if there's something I want to short ahead of time, it actually might be GM if it's up. I haven't seen it. I just know it's going to be a good one. Am I talking about Rivian? Rivian Millionaire. His name is Rivian Millionaire. Of course not. No, I would never talk about that. Your ticker, your pride and joy. Yes, Rivian, Lucid. There's EV manufacturers that don't make any money at all. Good luck next year. And to the legacies. Legacies is what I'm looking for. They're also going to take the beat down. Luckily, they have some vehicles that do make money that can soften that blow a little bit. Man, if you're a company that doesn't make money, you are completely exposed. and just at risk, I think. So Betty says just holding shares. Tesla 2, Tesla's going to take a hit for sure. I don't think Tesla sits this one out. I don't care if you see him walking down the beach holding hands with Trump. You can have all the fans you want, but yeah, if the economy gets bad and we crash, you'll find out real quick the stock market and the real world are two different things. Thoughts on Uber? That's another one of my shares. Okay. Is all the big talking heads also expecting a huge market downfall? Some of them are. Oh, isn't all? Yeah. For the record, I beat every one of them to it. Just saying. I talked about it much sooner than they did. Where's Rivian Millionaire? Anyway, this one I would particularly be nervous about. Anything automotive, right now while things are bullish and the markets are going up, you have time to plan. You have some random guy on YouTube or TikTok telling you there might be a crash next year. He's got a pretty good track record. He's been doing this for 12 years. He's 3 for 3 as far as crashes go. Every one of them, he talked months in advance and then told you when it was happening. And then even called the bottom. But still, what if I'm wrong? What you should do is every ticker you have, I don't care if you physically have to get a dry erase board and draw it out. Draw out a totem pole and just figure out which one goes on the chopping block first. Because when it starts to fall, when things start to crumble, at least you have a solid plan of, hey, this is the time. It's time to start. You're going to let these little ones go. If I'm sitting there in my account and I have the S&P, I have the NASDAQ, Ford, Tesla, Rivian. I got some chip sectors in there. Rivian's going to be at the bottom. The automotive sector, I'm going to put that down there right at the beginning. And if I had Rivian and Ford, Rivian would go first. At least Ford's made some money. They've never gone bankrupt. Only 2 companies have never gone bankrupt. That's Ford and Tesla. All the other ones have gone bankrupt. GM has actually gone bankrupt. All your shares went to zero, and then they put some new ones back out on the market just to spit in your face. Sweet. Who's ready for that again? So this one I would be genuinely nervous for. And I don't care how bullish January is. How much meat is left on the bones of this one? What's Rivian going to do? Announce some new super vehicle for $9,000 with the performance of a Tesla Model S? Because that's what they would need, right? They'd have to beat everybody to the cheap car and make money on it. And the wheels particularly stay on for some amount of time, Right now, we're playing the back and forth game between these two zones. I would take it day by day. We're smack dab right in the middle, so I don't really care. Not that you should care, but like for me, it's kind of like an awkward position to really do anything. If I'm going to start splitting hairs or maybe start day trading it, I would take today's high and low. Get above that, we're probably going to this zone. Get below there, we're probably going to that zone. Let's look at GM though. Government Motors. Oh, how high are they? $54. Now, there's some meat on the bones on this one. This is good news. I'm going to there will be one company that I told you guys I'm probably going to wait to short anything. Scratch that. I will be going short General Motors. Man, what's a good level? If we get if January sends this thing up to here, doing it. That is a yellow zone. And I'll just short shares and hold. I'm not even going to – I probably won't even do any options. I might grab puts later once it reverses. This one, I'll go short shares and hang out. I don't care about the dividend. What is your little 9 cents? Sweet. I'll pay that. I'll pay that to own these shares. Own these shares short. Get wrecked. There's no way I'm not going to be short if this thing breaks that. So I'm going to put that alert right there. Now, when that alert goes off, I'm going to go short GM. I don't care if it's tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to let this thing do its thing. Let the buyers do their thing. If it gets to that top zone, I will go short. No internet. TikTok says I have no internet connection. Please try again. TikTok, sorry if you're seeing this. There we go. What's the GameStop thesis? Gobs of cash on hand, top level C-suite. Hopefully everyone jumps into it. Real quick, guys, was there not a hang on. I'm gonna put another alert right here. That's one play I actually think could be pretty good right now. So I don't mind shorting that at all. Was there not a tweet from the cat, the guy that I'm not trying to be funny, the guy that does GameStop? They made the movie about him. I forgot his name. Roaring Kitty. Was there not a tweet about him? And I am going to bring up Google. I see you calling it out, Rick. It's happening. Sorry. We doing something with this? Oh, a present is all the tweet was. I'm surprised we didn't just get ridiculous on this and just absolutely send it. For now, if he's going to now, one thing he does is he brings in buyers. A lot of these buyers have been screwed, so it's going to lose its potency if it's not already. But he tweets something. He does some ominous tweets because he's making moves. One of these days, he's going to get caught holding the bag when people wise up to it, but people aren't that wise, so it'll be some time. Now I say this a lot because if it's a pump and dump, I call it a crap ticker. I say it all the time. But if people are going to pile in and hand out free money, I'm also there. So if he's going to start tweeting again, I might actually entertain the idea of I'll buy some shares and probably just sell some calls on it instantly. But hopefully I would buy shares now, and then if it actually sends it, I would sell some at the money calls. Yeah, nothing I would want to be really in. Hang on. I break down GOOGL when it comes to Google. You get voting rights, and I'm always there. I vote all the time. Just kidding, but it is a little bit more liquid. As far as Google goes, we're still kind of just on the grind up. I bought some shares back here in this zone. I said that was the dip buy, and then continued up. I'm on the gain train right now, so as far as my position goes, I'm just hanging out. Now that is in my trading account, but that's not my investment account. So those shares will go. But right now it needs to break this low right here. So and 184.85 would be my stop. And I want to give it that much wiggle room just because I do think January will still be a bullish month. So I think we're still good there. All right. And the last one, we haven't talked about it this whole time. Tesla. Whew. Is it time to short Tesla? Now last week was a banger week. If you were following, I did short Tesla. I had puts on it. I had puts, and then I'd sold puts for a pop up, bought those back, rode puts back down. It was awesome. I think Tesla's a little bit overbought. And we've just seen this time and time again. I don't know how many times people need to be in Tesla to just not be fooled by this. But it comes up, people get a little excited, then it comes back down, then the bears get really excited. It's a volatile ticker. It's a great one if you are an experienced trader. There's a lot of movement in this. I absolutely love this ticker. It's my second biggest position, followed by Meta's my first. And I'm going to hold every one of those shares, even though next year I think is going to crash. I'll sell calls in the meantime. But I kind of want to. This is where I'm going to get the hate. I kind of want to buy some puts on Tesla. I call this the really stupid indicator. Don't get offended by that. But we're weekly overbought. We got some time. So I'm going to put my alert. So here's the RSI. And I'm going to put my alert right here. Now, when the RSI on the weekly gets to 80, what's that, 84? 84.38. When that ticks, then I'm going to grab some puts on Tesla. It's about the only way I'll ever play the RSI. Historically, we've been there 1, 2, 3, 4, call it 5 times. 5 times since 2011. Your Meta call was insane last year. Reason I 5x my Meta shares. Just saying. Just kidding. I'm glad somebody took advantage of that. It was amazing. Man. So as far as the RSI goes, though, we're cooling off. I say that because someone might call this a lower high right here. Anybody that's playing these indicators, and I imagine a lot of retail is, um, might just be thinking this is the dip buy. And overall, we're still kind of on this trend up. I probably wouldn't be too worried about Tesla unless it were to break 434. This guy and his indicators. Well, Matt, what happened last time I put an alert on an indicator like that? The jokes came in. Jokes was on you guys because it panned out. And in fact, I went short Amazon, and Amazon tanked. What are my thoughts on the quantum stocks? I think it's early. I think Google brought some attention to it and a lot of money piled in. There's no real use case for the quantum just yet or anytime soon. So if personally I think it's gonna be a crash next year, there's no rush for me to be buying those. Now I'm going to treat quantum the way I treated AI. The way we've seen money get put into AI, if artificial intelligence was a money problem, we would have it right now. So what I did was I cast in more an AI net. You could think Grok's going to do it with Tesla, Llama with Meta. You can think whatever you want about whatever AI, large language model, who's going to get it first. But I wanted to have that net cast out there because I think it's going to be some dork just working overtime, stuck in his office because he doesn't have a girlfriend. And I don't mean that in any kind of way, but he's just going to be at his office for whatever reason. No work-life balance. And the computer's going to start talking back to him. And that's going to be how AI is invented or kind of brought to life. And whatever company does that first, I think is probably going to see some meaningful upside. And I kind of think quantum's going to be the same. So next year, quantum will be on my watch list. And I'm talking about all the little guys. Google, I have Google, right? What account? I have a lot of tech and AI, so who can say that and not have Google stock? But there are other ones like, was it IONQ? There's a few startups that are getting into it. Whether they do it or they're just on the right track and get bought out, I think they'll be good candidates. But I think right now I think we're very early to that. I think next year will be a much better buy for them. What am I buying today for a long hold? It's about to be short GM, short shares GM. If I had money just burning a hole in my pocket and I had to apply it to something, I can tell you right now, my top three are Meta, Tesla, and NVIDIA. But the one I'm buying the most right now of is actually AMD. I think AMD's cheap. Now, again, if we crash next year, AMD could get a lot cheaper. But that one, I think we're going to play catch up. I mean, people are talking about AMD like it's just not a thing. Like, oh, NVIDIA, like AMD was just nothing. Yeah, AMD's not a tiny company. I think they're going to figure it out, and they're going to start. So the CEOs are actually cousins, AMD and NVIDIA. You call it weird or not, but just in what world are you not like calling up your cousin like, hey, we got a lot of money over here. Why don't you try this? Look how it's working for us. Competition's always good too. There's just think of Walgreens and CVS. If you hate NVIDIA, you're going to go to AMD, vice versa. You take all the market share. OG Keeter, he says AMD on discount. I bought a ton on the dip. That's where I'm at, and I say it this way because I don't care if it drops down to 90. I'm still going to be in it. So there's others that I think are just, you can buy it now, you can buy it later, you can buy whatever you want, and in 5 years it's going to be up. If we're talking about 5-year horizon, AMD is actually on that list. But there are some I could just buy and weather the storm regardless. AMD, it's not NVIDIA. There's a reason why it's not in my top 3 or top 5, but I do think it is cheap right now. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to wrap it up here. Been a solid hour. All right. Hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and be safe on New Year's. I would prefer you guys make it back to the new streams in the new year, 2025. 2025 is going to be where a lot of money gets made. And if you're paying attention, it could be in your account. Anyway, I'll wrap it up. I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.